Alina was a charming woman who had always found an allied hand to help her in any circumstance, thanks to her way of being. That was why, when she found herself alone and abandoned by everyone in that hospital many years later, she could not understand the reasons that had led her there, and decided to review her entire existence, trying to find the moment that had caused that now, being an older woman, she suffered from absolute loneliness. But she did not find any explanation. She had been the most cordial and attentive person since she was a child. No favor remained undone, nor did she elude any opportunity to demonstrate the nobility that her heart harbored. She had grown up amid a family that taught her the importance of always being willing to give her all for others. When she grew up, she realized that her family was exceptional, and in reality, most people were not like them. On the contrary, many harbored grudges of years in their hearts, and were indifferent to the misfortunes of others. That is why, when it came time to form her own family, she knew that she could not allow the nobility to die with her, and that she should instill it in her children. She devoted as much time to her children as possible. Alina and her husband had a small family business that, although it didn't allow her to give herself luxuries, if she gave them enough so that her table would never lack bread. And although clients used to take advantage of their nobility and would lose money because of them, they had enough to live peacefully. Alina was so busy doing her best to make her family look like her parents' family that she never took the time to get to know her husband or children for who they really were, and not for what she wanted them to be. When she noticed that the children were growing up with a personality of their own, very different from the one she had tried to instill in them, she became frustrated. With time, she began to think that she had failed as a mother. There were so many things she didn't like about her children that she didn't value the good things in them, and little by little, she pushed them away. But Alina never understood that her loneliness was due to herself. And there she was, in a hospital bed, and with a nurse as her only company. Her husband had died several years earlier, and her children had moved to other countries. When she got sick, she didn't want them to know. She had lived so many years, so frustrated that she had become convinced that her children did not want her, when she had never known how to keep them around, to constantly pressure them to be something they were not. Every time Alina had led a charitable cause, she had forced them to be sociable and be close to people they didn't want, and there were many hours when she neglected them for being aware of others. And when the children approached her and tried to explain that they didn't want to be there, she would become enraged. She never knew how to balance her task as a mother with service to others. As she pondered, those ideas didn't come to her mind. She just reneged on the children she had without realizing that her own work had put her in that situation. Days later, while her nurse was refreshing her bed, Alina confessed that she felt she had very little time left to live. In reality, she did not feel any fear at the thought of dying. She had lived for many years, but when her nurse asked her if there was anything she wanted to do, Alina decided that she had been postponing for several years. It turns out that their children, when they left, had not taken all their belongings. In fact, they had left most of their things and had started from scratch, far from home. Alina had already gotten rid of almost everything: the clothes, the books, the toys of childhood, but there was something she had not been able to get rid of. Her children kept a heavy metal box in their room, and she had never known that they had kept it there. When she left, she had found the key to the lock, but she had never dared to open it, and didn't understand why she was afraid of what she might find. And she had hidden the keys also of her husband, who died without knowing what was inside. But now that Alina felt death near, and that she had a helping hand at the end of her days, which was her nurse, she decided that she could not leave this world without knowing what her children had kept in that box. She handed the key to the nurse and asked him to go to her home, open the box, and go back there to tell her what was there, and it was time to know. Despite the older woman's request being outside his responsibilities, the nurse accepted. He was pained that someone like Alina was alone and wanted to help her, but he never imagined what he would find inside that box, and for a long time wished he had never opened it. Her children had kept their diaries there, and several newspaper clippings of news related to the mayor who had helped Alina promote her community causes. But he did not understand the reason for keeping those newspapers until he read the newspapers and then cried in terror. The children recounted how this man had physically and psychologically abused them while their mother was distracted by others. The mayor had taken advantage of every crowd to approach the children and always had the mother's approval, who never noticed her children's looks of fear every time she decided to support a new cause and ask him for help. The nurse did not know what to do. It was too painful information for an older woman who could no longer do anything to change what she had done, and her children were too far away to arrive on time and forgive her. But when he returned to the hospital, he understood that Alina was too lucid to believe a lie, and he told her everything, and then he did not know what to say. The pain of the truth pierced her heart as if she had been nailed with 1,000 pins. She realized that she had been selfish all her life, and that by seeking to have her children equal to her, because she believed she was morally superior to others, she had harmed them forever. And she regretted it so much that she asked her children to be called, but they could not find her alive. Alina died that same afternoon after writing them a long and heartfelt letter in which she asked for forgiveness for everything. And her children, who, despite everything, had loved her, knew how to forgive her for cleansing her heart of so many pains, finally, and continuing with her life, trying to be a good parent. Each of them looks after their children at every moment, so that they never have to live the same as them. If you liked this story, leave a like and share it with your friends and family. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Until next time.